I just wanted to make a quick video given my opinions of the new Warlords of Draenor expansion for World of Warcraft. Um, it's a PvP view, mostly focusing on PvP. I don't really do PvE. A few admittances here. I am not a gladiator, nor have I ever been, but I do PvP, and I have my own mind and my own opinions, and that's what I'm going with here. So hopefully you can enjoy or perhaps empathize with my opinions and views. I know we most likely have your own ones, but yep, that's where we're going with this, so I hope you enjoy. So the first thing that I wanted to give my opinion on would have to be the current representation of classes in regular battlegrounds at the moment. As far as I know, the arena isn't up and working at the moment because we don't actually have an arena this season. You can get rating, but I haven't done it. It's generally pointless because I like a little bit more of a reward. Like I said, I'm not a gladiator. I don't really go for gladiator. I do, however, like getting nice new shiny gear. So without that being an incentive, I can honestly say that I haven't yet done any arena, but I can imagine what it's like. But I'm going to basically give my experiences here from Battlegrounds, and as far as representation goes, a few classes that really start to stick out. Anything with decent healing capabilities. Paladin, Druid, Shaman, Priest especially, yeah. That would have to be the main classes that you see in PvP, or I have been seeing in PvP, and it's quite obvious why, with the new downscaling of damage, but we seem to have remotely kept our HP. I mean, the average HP in the battleground with buffs and everything is around about 250k, with the average DPS being around about 5 to 8k, while people are still getting geared and without the arena gear present. That makes healing incredibly powerful. I have seen teams composed of nothing but paladins, druids, and shamans, and priests, and they have completely destroyed people, putting out anywhere from 2 to 3 million in damage through the duration of a BG to 1 to 2 million in healing, and that's off healing. That's quite a lot. Yeah, and it just seems very one-sided at the moment. I'm hoping that with the gear and the scaling that will change, but with my current views on it at the moment, it's a very heal-heavy meta going around inside these battlegrounds. I hate to use that word, but a few other classes at the moment that are predominantly incredibly powerful would have to be the warrior. See a few of those now and again. The hunter, also seeing a few of those now and again. And what's the other one? Death Knights. Death Knights are fairly popular, but not as popular from what I've seen. And that basically comes down to, again, with 250k, that's enough HP as to where healers can really get an advantage by, you know, off healing 10, 20, 30k with only a 5 to 8k DPS range average means that they can tank a lot. They can just wear people down and they can keep themselves up. On the flip side of that is where you see the warriors and the hunters. And this is basically because of their ability to execute. 25% health or below, and you have hunters easily racking out 40 to 50k killing blows, essentially, just bam, and if the first one doesn't kill, automatically refreshes the cooldown, and bam, the second one. You're looking at an 80k damage to 100k execute range for a hunter. Granted, of course, they can't use it until the last 45, 50k, but like I said, 80k damage, there is literally nothing that's going to keep you up. If there is one of those nearby, and it has you in its sights, especially if it's a marksman and it hasn't moved and it's got that buff, you're gone. And the same with warrior, he will just hammer that execute until you're down, and the damage on that is absolutely insane. So on the flip side, you know, hard to get healers down because healing just seems so effective given how high the HP is. Then the reverse, you have a couple of classes which do insane damage when your HP starts getting low, and it just puts you down. And therein lies a slight bit of the problem, in my opinion, because you have, it's basically like a ravine. On one side you have the healing, on the other side you have the counter to that healing, which is the ability to execute. And in the middle you have all the other classes that don't really have an ability to take advantage of executing or healing to any great extent that it becomes noticeable or worthwhile. And that is, they seem to basically never really be appearing. So I'm hoping that's going to change with gear scaling. Honestly, it's hard to get a good opinion based so early in the expansion, especially when everyone's getting their gear and you don't really have much to go off. But as of right now, from what I've seen, it's very healer, very execute heavy, and it seems to be a lot less, I can't really say a lot less skill dependent than it was before, but it's pretty brain dead. Um, you either tank someone and just heal up and hit them and heal up and hit them and heal up and hit them. A lot of classes can heal on the go. I mean, I know druids are complaining about having cast times on their stuff, but when you can essentially pull off a hunter's disengage, instantly change into travel form to remove any kind of snare on you, and then get some distance and start casting, it's really a moot point. I mean, the only classes that will be able to keep up with you is Death Knight, Warrior, and another druid, I expect, or a hunter if you don't get far enough away, which is basically giving all the answers to exactly the same classes but don't need them. Yeah, so that's my current view on the representation of classes currently within PvP for Warlords of Draenor. You might not agree, but I'm just recalling what I've seen so far. And it is a little bit frustrating, you know, like when you go into a PvP fight, you want to actually be fighting. It's not arena, you know, you're not 2 and 1, you're not taking 2 DPS, 1 healer, and you're all really stacked, geared people, and you can bring that healer down and switch, and you're all a coordinated team. It's a battleground, mostly full of people that have never seen each other before, and they're all just fighting all over the place. Focus is guaranteed at a minimum, unless you're a pre-made. And if you happen to go up against the pre-made, which is currently rocking the current heal-heavy class representation, you literally stand no chance. I have been fully capped in many games by teams which basically every single class they had were capable of healing. I mean, we're talking a team that basically consisted of a couple, like a warrior or two, a hunter or two, and then you've just got paladins, priests, druids, and shamans, and nothing else. That literally was their entire team. So yeah, I think I've got my point across there regarding the class representation, which brings me on to my next topic, the professions. Wow, where to go with the professions? My one of my characters has been left a little bit screwed with the current changes. I wish they had given you an opportunity to switch your profession as a result of what they have done, because there is no more you gain additional sockets bonuses to your gear for being a blacksmith. Essentially, there's no upgraded, updated version of that, and that is pretty killer, because say you're a leather wearer and you've got engineering and you've got blacksmithing, and your gear is giving you nothing but heavy mastery and you don't want it, and the only way you can re-roll the stats or the secondary stats on your gear is through, well, being of the profession that can work with your armor class and making the item which allows you to re-roll said stats. So if you're a leather wearer and you used to have blacksmithing and engineering, congratulations, you no longer gain the benefits of your blacksmithing, and you no longer have the ability to essentially reforge your armor and equipment. And that's a big blow. That's a big blow because that means you basically have to suffer, or alternatively just swing with the punches and try and make as much money from blacksmithing as you can, because it won't be helping you in PvP. Engineering, on the other hand, is an entirely different matter. Engineering is ridiculously strong for PvP, especially this early in the game. Why do I say that? Well, a couple of reasons. It's quite easy to craft a few key items which will enable you to wreck face. The first one being a missile, which at level 100, hits for around 57 to 60k in damage. That is a lot of damage, especially against the player, and it can crit. I've had mine crit for 73k before, and essentially, if you don't have an execute, that is your makeshift execute. If you do have an execute, God help whoever you're attacking, because you'll run up, you'll do your stuff, you'll hit them with a missile, the missile will hit for anything from 40 to 70k damage, and whatever is left will just be executed off the bat. There is of course a counter to that, and that is the shield, which engineering can also make, and that is, again, it doesn't have the ability to crit, but you're looking at a 53k shield at level 100, and that is enough to actually block one of the hunter's killing blows. So if you have enough health to survive the first, and you can put that shield up in time for the second, you may actually survive being focused down by a hunter, and that's a pretty big feat. And of course, if you don't have access to engineering, well, you're in luck, because like all of the professions they have made, any benefit from one profession is gone if it's solely for that profession, and if it still has said benefit for that profession, it then has the ability to be shared between all professions, all characters of all professions. I can make these missiles and give them to my friends. I can enchant rings of other people, or give people ring enchants with enchanting, and generally that's how WoW has gone. WoW has gone like, okay, you've chosen to be this profession, you are no longer a special snowflake of any particular reason, you just have the ability to craft this stuff, which for most of the professions makes it pretty damn useless. As a PvPer, pretty damn useless. Now the only thing I want is the ability to reroll my secondary stats, because, you know, blacksmithing, okay, I can make epic gear, I can make, you know what, anything, but all I want is PvP gear and PvP weaponry. I don't intend on raiding. I'm not going to be making 670, 680 gear when the recipes for that become available. I learned a long time ago that unless you're in a very capable raiding guild, or you really, really want to raid, the chances of you ever getting your hands on anything remotely decent from raiding, it's not going to happen. Especially if you don't have a large group of friends available to you. So I gave up on that a long time ago. But yeah, with the professions as they are, that's kind of frustrating, because that means I literally get nothing from them. The occasional bit of money, it's quite amusing selling Arclight spanners for like 100 gold, because people are too stupid or lazy to realise that they only take 6 copper to make. But yeah, that's another story. So that brings me to the end of my view on the PvP. The summary would be, it's quite a lot of fun. It is quite a lot of fun. I wish that the class representation was a bit more even, but this is WoW, and that rarely happens. Especially this late in the game, there are people that have classes at max level of every class, and whatever is flavor of the month, they will just run in and roll. Which is frustrating, because I want to fight all of the classes. I want to feel that my class is viable. I want to see other people using it, but they're not. And currently, all I'm seeing is heals, heals, and heals. But that tends to be a recurring issue at the start of most expansions. If I remember correctly, Pandaria and Cataclysm were no different until the epic gear comes in and healing starts to hit that plateau of where it's not enough anymore in PvP due to the amount of damage that's being put out by DPS. Hopefully be even less of a problem later on because there's little to no resilience whatsoever left in the game. So it's looking hopeful. I quite like the engineering actually feels like it's useful now. Um, yeah, so I'm planning on making another video. It'll be on my class, one of my classes, and because a lot has happened to this class in transition from Mists of Pandaria to Warlords of Draenor, and I have a few bits to say. Whether anyone listens or not is another matter, like all of my videos, but if you feel interested to take a look, feel free to take a look at my videos and tell me what you think. See if you agree, see if you disagree. Maybe you can enlighten me to a few things that I didn't notice before. But anyway, I hope to see you then, and I'll see you later.